Well, hello there and welcome to this episode of The Terri Cole Show. And I want to start with a question. How do you feel about aging? Regardless of what age you are, how do you feel about it? Are you afraid of getting older? Are you struggling with how you feel about the way that your looks are changing potentially? Maybe you just had babies and your body has changed. How do you feel about aging? Because that is what we're going to be talking about in this episode. I'm going to be talking about the realities of getting older. I just had a big birthday myself, practicing self-acceptance and compassion around aging. I'm sharing with you what I'm choosing to do, sort of my frame around aging. Intentional thoughts really do matter. Also, talking a little bit about the history of why we think about aging the way that we do. And lastly, I'm going to give you some tips for you to care for your future self that I have found really helpful. So before we get into the content, I want to make sure if you are new to this YouTube channel that you subscribe right now. Hit the icon of the bell. Make sure you're subscribed because I roll out new stuff every Tuesday and every Thursday, and I don't want you to miss a thing because you're the people that I make it for. All of this free content is for you, my friends. I also want to say thank you for all your comments. We have a very active comment section on this YouTube channel, which I absolutely love, and I love to highlight your comments. So this is from Maria the Lioness under the video, How to Identify and Manage Your Emotional Triggers. And Maria says, very thought-provoking, and I find Terri's voice so calming and assuring. It just gives me the feeling that everything will be all right and that I'm going to figure it all out. Thank you, thank you, thank you. Well, thank you, Maria the Lioness, for taking the time to write that nice comment. I really do appreciate you. All right, let's move into today's content. So, I recently turned 60. When I was younger, I thought 60 was old AF. I sure did. I was like, wow. And since turning 60 myself, the reality is it feels a lot like turning 50 or turning 40 or turning any other age that I've ever turned in my entire life. It really doesn't feel much different. And I've spent time over the years thinking about aging, knowing that things would change. The way that I look has changed. My body has changed. And I don't look at this as a bad thing now, but it took years of me looking at it like, what were we indoctrinated into? What is the belief system societally that we're in that basically tells women that our value diminishes as our beauty diminishes? And who says that beauty is only reserved for the young? And yet society tells us that. And so about 10 years ago, I started really exploring in my own therapy and just in my own life, my feelings about aging and questioning them and seeing the changes in my face and being like, well, you can save all your money and change, right? There's many things that we can do. And again, listen, this is not a debate about whether people should or should not have plastic surgery, because if you want plastic surgery and that makes you feel great, do it. And I reserve the right to change my mind at any moment. I'm just telling you what my process was. It's really not a debate about this because I know people are on the pro do nothing at all and pro all natural and then pro do whatever you can, go down swinging. But I feel like each of us, it's so much more than that. Each of us has to decide how we're going to relate to it for ourselves, how much of your identity is connected to your physical attributes. And that's something to really think about. You know, I used to be a talent agent representing supermodels and celebrities. And people would say to me when I was running the TV department there, you know, doesn't it make you feel insecure to be around supermodels? And I swear to God, it never even entered my mind because I wasn't comparing myself to Naomi Campbell or Cindy Crawford, right? I wasn't comparing myself to the women that I was representing because I wasn't in competition with them and I'm still not. Like, it doesn't make sense to me, that thought. But it told me more about how the friend that said that to me, how she would feel if she were in a situation with a bunch of supermodels all there, at least how she's projecting she thought that she would feel. I never really felt that way. I feel like everyone's beauty is unique. And with models, many of them are just, I swear, born that way. And yes, they work to keep it for sure, work out or whatever. But I mean, I was in that industry for almost 10 years. And the amount of beauty, like physical perfection that you see, it shifts because the nicest clients that I had were the most beautiful to me. And the ones that were the most difficult, no matter how physically perfect they may have been, they weren't beautiful to me because it was all about how they related and how they treated people and how they treated their assistants and how they treated my assistant, right? Those are the things that I would look at. And I don't know if that's just being an empath or if that's just being more from a lens of an emotional lens. I'm not sure. But anyway, long way around the barn. What I decided to do starting about 10 years ago was to really dive into self-acceptance of where I am in my life. Be grateful that I'm healthy, that I'm physically fit, that I'm well enough to be physically fit, that I look like me. You know what I mean? And that's what it is. The self-acceptance took time, though. I don't think I really started seeing changes to my face physically till I was over 50. I'm not kidding. Like, I'm sure there were some small ones, but between 50 and 60, I certainly noticed more. And sometimes it bothered me. And sometimes I'd think, I wonder if I should do something about this. And then the more I thought about it, the more I was like, I have to put my energy into what is sustainable and healthy for me. You know, and it also helps in a way that I have a husband who is very complimentary and does not think I need to do anything to myself. And, you know, he's very celebrating of me and all of me, personality, how I look, my body, all of it. So I have a lot of reassurance on the home front for me, having someone sort of in my corner. I think that self-acceptance and really looking in the mirror, and if you find yourself being self-critical, really try to stop that and realize I look at my smile lines or my wrinkles around my eyes and I think I earned them, right? This is my life on my face to a degree. So this is not to say I protect myself from the sun. I'm going to talk about all the things that I do to protect my skin and my health, because really, to me, aging well, one piece of it is what does my face look like, right? We need to move on to what else is it about. But before we do that, let's just talk a little bit about, I have therapy clients who are so hell-bent on not aging. They're doing sort of extreme measures at young ages. I mean, there are studies that are out right now that children, teenagers are buying anti-aging products now, and that people, very young folks, are getting Botox and those types of things. And that is concerning to me, being that preoccupied with anti-aging in your 20s. That is concerning to me because you got many, 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 many more years to age. And in your 20s, I can't even imagine that you need anything. I can't, do you even have wrinkles in your 20s? I mean, maybe, but there was something written up in The Guardian all about urging parents to not buy kids anti-aging products because it's sort of like we're keeping this going, this belief. We are colluding with sort of the gazillion-dollar business that is the beauty business, and letting them target children is just so incredibly wrong, according to me. For me, I started looking at role models, and in the guide for you guys, I'll put a list of the women that I'm following and people that just a Jamie Lee Curtis who just like lights me up, where I'm always looking for models of behavior, not models like supermodels, like people who are doing it a way that I would want to do it. How are people who are aging more naturally, let's say, because I'm not even talking about perfectly naturally, right? I'm just saying, allowing, like in Hollywood, having come from entertainment, in Hollywood, it's like nobody's allowed to age at all. And you're like, but we're gonna. And we should be celebrating it like in many other cultures. There's wisdom, right? Think about what you know at 50 or 55 or 60 that you didn't at all know at 20, 25, or 30. And I'm hoping that we're bringing this back, this generation of women, that we're talking more openly about menopause, about aging. People talk about feeling like they become more invisible as they age, women in particular, and we're talking about it. So you can find your own role models, and in the guide, terricole.com/guide, I will give you a bunch that I am following for a bunch of different reasons. Some are menopause experts, because I think that that's a really important part of the aging well conversation, at least for me. And I will say, and I will also have a disclaimer on this episode, I am not a gynecologist. I am not an MD, right? I can tell you what I'm doing. I am doing hormone replacement therapy. I am not telling you to do it. I say go see a professional, but a lot of doctors are not well versed in hormone replacement therapy, and a lot of this is changing. So I interviewed already on the show Dr. Mary Claire Haver. It was a wonderful interview. She's someone that you can follow. I'll put her on the list to learn more, because the thing with menopause is that we suffer in menopause, and you don't have to suffer. Right? There are things that you can do to not suffer. And again, you will do your own research, but it took me a long time. I wished I had gone on hormone replacement therapy earlier in my experience. I started having I don't know how many years ago, got to be at least 5, maybe more. The first symptom I had, I hope this isn't too TMI, but it's true, and I've talked about it before, is painful sex. Suddenly, from not having that be my experience ever, and I was like, what is happening with my body? I had no idea. This is now, the past 5 years, there's been so much conversation on the interwebs about hormone replacement and about menopause and perimenopause in a way that I swear, maybe I'm just tuned into it now, but I do not think those conversations were happening 5 or 10 years ago. So I really didn't know what the hell was going on. And I couldn't sleep, but I didn't have the regular symptoms, quote unquote, like hot flashes and those things. So it never entered my mind. And I was still getting my period regularly. So I didn't know I was in perimenopause, but I was. I mean, menopause itself, there's 34 symptoms of menopause, people. That's a lot. So get educated, and I will certainly share some resources with you. I mean, frozen shoulder is a symptom of menopause. What are you talking about? But it is. And I had it. Thank God I got over it. But it was super painful, and I couldn't believe it. I was like, this is the weirdest shit ever. How is this related? So look for and find role models, and hopefully you will like some of the ones that I share with you. All right. So this is just in a nutshell, my thoughts. Maybe it's a mindset shift for you. Maybe not. But here's my thought. As we age, being physically fit and well can't just be about the size of your ass, right? We need to be worried about bone density. And I could say concerned about, right? To take care of. We don't have to be worried about. We need to think about bone density and there are things that happen as you age that you become more susceptible to, especially if it's hereditary. You may have high cholesterol, which I do, even though I don't deserve it with the way that I eat and live, but it is a hereditary condition. So you really want to stay on your health in all the ways that you can, and moving our bodies. And for me, I move my body in a different way. Right now, I do almost all trampolining and stretching and yoga because it doesn't beat on my joints in the same way that I used to do Zumba all the time. But doing Zumba on the ground was really just too painful on my knees. And so I love my trampoline stuff. Of course, I'll leave that information for you guys in the show notes too. Michelle Brailer, who just saved me and my sister during the pandemic. And we never went back. I literally never went back to the gym. And I'm in the best shape of my life at this age, which is kind of amazing because I've always been pretty fit. But it is such a joy, and it's so good for your body. It's not just good for your muscles. I also lift weights with Michelle. She has a whole bunch of different workouts that you can do, and you can join her thing for $4.95 a month, which I'm not an affiliate of, or I did it without joining for months. So she's got tons of free stuff on YouTube. So Michelle Brailer is her name. I will put all that in the show notes. The bone density stuff we need to be thinking about too. So lifting weights is also very important, but staying flexible is so key. So you got to make time to move your ass. That's it. And if you're someone who's like, I've been doing P90X, I mean, do people even do that anymore? Probably not. Or CrossFit, or these very caustic workouts, I want you to start thinking about doing something that's a little bit less beating on your body, right? This God pot, as Chris Carr would say, is the only one we got. So we got to be kind to it. We got to be good to it. And we got to be gentle with it. Another thing that's very important is hydrate. Make sure you're getting enough water, right? You've got to be drinking. I mean, everyone says something different. I'm drinking between 75 and 100 ounces a day of water. That's what I'm drinking. I'm not saying that's what you should drink. Talk to your doctor, but drink. One of the most important elements to good health is really good sleep. If you're in menopause, if you're experiencing menopause, you may be having disrupted sleep, but this is something that is so important to your health. So you got to figure it out. You've got to do better sleep hygiene, meaning make sure your room is pitch dark, get blackout shades, don't have any blue lights on in your room. If I have any, like we have this little air conditioning unit in there that has a light on it, we tape something over it because it really does impact the circadian rhythm, I think it's called, in the sleep. It absolutely disrupts it. So sleep is important. Another thing super important is oral hygiene. And this sounds weird, but it is so connected to other health. So you want to make sure that you are flossing your teeth at least once a day. I know I've done a whole thing on oral hygiene because I'm friggin' obsessed. And everyone has their different ways of doing it, but just take care of your teeth. I use an electric toothbrush at night and my regular toothbrush in the morning. I use Listerine. Some people don't like that or doesn't think that's good, but at least once a day after I floss, I use Listerine and then I do my electric toothbrush for 2.5 minutes. Take care of your teeth because if not, you will lose them, right? Another thing to think about is, especially once you're hitting menopause, advocating for yourself, especially in the medical community, medical boundaries. If you're talking to someone and you think that they're like, this is just the way it is in menopause, you have to suffer, find a different doctor because it doesn't have to be like that. And also, don't take any shit from anyone, not just medical professionals, anyone. Expect people to treat you with respect, to treat your concerns as their concerns if they are your medical professional. Cannot tell you how many doctors I've fired in my life because you know what? There's someone else who's better than you. If I'm annoying you, you're a doctor and all my questions are annoying you, you're not my doctor. Because when I go to a doctor, I literally say to their face, I'm looking for someone to partner with me in my optimal health, which means you will need to respond to me. When we're in that little portal and I'm writing to you, you will need to actually respond to me. I'm not torturous. I'm smart. I'm well educated. But if I have questions, a doctor I'm paying needs to answer them and not do it begrudgingly, you know? All right. So advocate for yourself medically. Reduce sitting. Like if you're sitting for an hour, put an alarm on your phone, get up, move around, dance for one song, walk into the kitchen, get some water, whatever you're doing. But really sitting for so long is not great. Another thing to think about as you get to this point in life is do a relationship inventory. How's it going? Along with that relationship inventory, you can do a resentment inventory. Meaning, are there relationships in your life where you are tolerating stuff that you don't want to be, that you're sick of, that you're tired of, that you feel like you're hitting a tipping point? I think it's a good time to really do a resentment inventory, which I'll put in the guide. Just go to terricole.com/guide and see. A lot of times we stay in relationships longer than their expiration date, whether they're friendships that have kind of historical handcuffs because we're friends from childhood or whatever. But this is a time for you to really think about who's in my VIP section and should they be there. And the last thing to think about is, to the best of your ability, if you are able, use clean products. That's clean products on your skin, right? Your biggest organ is your skin. Look for things. Don't use preservatives. Look, if your skin stuff has 900 ingredients, don't use it, right? So really look, there's oils you can use. I use castor oil on my skin. That's very natural and not expensive. And the same thing with your cleaning stuff for your house. Be mindful of how toxic cleaning fluids are. And you can use vinegar and baking soda for almost anything. Put a few drops of essential oil in there. Way less expensive than regular cleaning stuff. And at least you know you're not inhaling a bunch of poisonous, carcinogenic shit. So there. Whew. Okay. So I don't know if that was helpful. I hope it was. It felt good for me to get it out. You guys, I'm so happy you're here. I'm so happy that you're alive, right? I don't want anything to happen to you. I don't want you to feel ashamed of your age, of who you are, of how you look. It is not an empowering way to live. So I really want you, whether you're in your 30s, 40s, or 50s, start thinking about it. Make conscious and mindful decisions about self-acceptance and self-love. Don't let society tell you. Don't let some middle-aged dude dictate what your value is. I am valuable because I think I'm valuable. At 60, at 50, at 40, at 70, at 100. That is my decision to make, and that is your decision to make. So I hope that this episode fired you up for healthier aging. I'd love to hear what you have to say about it. I hope you guys have the most amazing weekend. As always, take care of you.